Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little dive into r/am I the bort hole. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay, so first post today was shared by Mention Efficient 1687. Am I the bort hole for saving up all the food my wife thinks is fine for me to eat for when her family came to visit? My wife works part-time from home, like 10 hours a week, on her own schedule. If she felt like it, she could do all of her work on Sunday and take the rest of the week off. I work construction. I usually work a fly-in, fly-out construction camp. However, currently I'm working at a job site that I can commute to. I'm still working 72-hour weeks. My wife doesn't care about the taste and texture of her food. It's just fuel for her. I like eating tasty and good food. Not sure how else to put it. If I eat pizza, for example, I don't want the crust undercooked and limp. I'm not sure anyone does. I've tried explaining to my wife over and over how food should be stored and prepared. She doesn't care. The best way for me to give an example is butter. She will let it melt and harden until it's all lumpy and gross. Still technically edible though. If we buy a block of cheese, she doesn't understand why I cut off a piece and freeze the rest. But if I'm out of town, I might come back to half a block of mouldy cheddar. She will then cut off the mould because it's still good underneath. Now, I know for most things you should not cut off the mould and eat it because the mould is probably running a lot deeper than what you can actually see. I don't know about cheese though, because cheese is kind of hardened on the idea that, it goes a little bit moldy on the outside and hardens on the inside, and then you cut off the moldy bit and it's all good to go. So I don't know about that one, if that's true or not. Personally, I don't risk it. If I see a bit of mold on some cheese in my fridge, it's going in the bin because we don't play with mold. I also will never eat blue cheese. 1, because it stinks. And 2, because honestly, it kind of icks me out the fact that is literally mold all the way through it. I organise our freezer constantly so that we can use up older food before it goes off. She just dumps the new hauls on top, so I find freezer burned steaks and chicken all the time. Yeah, and honestly, you have to really let stuff pile up as well for meat to get freezer burnt, because I found as long as you store it in the right part of the freezer, like, you can have chicken in there for 6 months and it not get freezer burned. Whereas if you're just like whacking stuff right in the bottom and like letting it touch the sides or piling loads of other stuff on top, then yeah, obviously. I finally have gotten sick of this, so I started setting aside all of the food that she said was good enough for me to eat. When her folks came over, instead of going grocery shopping, I filled the fridge and freezer with the food that I had saved. I also filled our butter bell with the grainy, gross butter. She came home from the airport with her parents and we all day to talk. I'm not certain exactly what the OP's trying to say there. I'm gonna guess, and we had all day to talk, or we hadn't had all day to talk. I don't know. Her mum and dad are awesome and offered to make supper. I said thank you and sat back. Her dad made himself a slice of toast to snack on while they cooked. He didn't say anything, but the slice went into the garbage and he spit out the bite he took. Pretty much the only thing in our home that they were willing to cook were canned or in jars. I heard her mum talking to my wife about whether we were doing okay for money and offering to give us money for groceries if we needed. She said maybe my wife should consider a full-time job to help with household expenses. My wife tried to say that we were doing okay, but her mum showed her the freezer-burned steak and the chicken thighs, the mouldy cheese, the grainy butter. My mother-in-law said that there isn't shame in admitting we need help. Like, don't get me wrong as well. Like, I have used things past their use-by date before. I am honestly one of those people that if it smells good, it looks good, I'm probably going to eat it, right? Because I think use-by dates are sometimes a bit dramatic, aren't they, really? And I think, obviously, sometimes you're low on money, you just eat like the maybe slightly staler than you'd like bread or stuff like that. But it sounds like these two have more than enough money to be buying decent enough food And the wife is purposefully letting things go gross as well, because if things are stored properly, then they wouldn't go gross. Like cheese and butter, you gotta really try to make them go icky. Like, as long as you store them properly, they'll last for ages. And like frozen meat, again, if you're storing it properly, it will last ages. So why is this food being allowed to go so gross? My wife took them to our freezer and showed them our food, which led to her mum asking why we would let food get to the point that it was edible but gross. My wife had no answer, but she had plenty to say to me that night. She said I intentionally embarrassed her in front of her parents. I asked her if she would serve me that food or expected me to cook it for us to eat. She said that wasn't the point. I think it was. Am I the butthole for using her parents to teach her about food quality? No, not at all. And the thing is, at some point, you're going to get food poisoning. Like, if she is not storing food properly to the point that it is starting to go icky, there is going to end up a point where you get food poisoning. It's just facts. And the fact she's piling fresh food on top of older food in the freezer annoys me. You take out the older food, you put the fresher stuff in so it's on the bottom, put the older ones on top, use the older ones first. Like, it's not hard. This is pure laziness. I don't even think it's about not knowing how to do it. I just think the OP's wife is just being lazy and not storing things properly because she can't be asked, whether she's not putting things away in time and then finally putting them away, but by that point the damage is done or whatever. Like, there's just no need for it. So, down in the comments, careful what you wish for says, bottom line is, if there's nothing wrong with the food, why would she be embarrassed? Pretty clear she was raised better, knows better, and can't be bothered to give a damn. Not the butthole, but maybe you should be. Start buying dinner for you on the way home and just cooking your own steak or whatever. If she doesn't care, she can eat that crap. If she complains about it, ask why it suddenly matters. Yeah, exactly. That's what I would do. I'd just be like, right, I'll sort my own food. You can eat that. You can eat the stuff you're leaving out to go gross, and I'll eat my own. And then main cauliflower 5479 says, I totally agree. I was also going to suggest he buy good takeout for dinner for himself and stop for fresh groceries if he wants to cook his own dinner for that meal only. She can eat the mouldy cheese and the freezer burned meats. And of course, I do want to point out that, food scarcity and things like that could lead someone to have to eat, things that maybe have got a bit freezer burned or things that are past their sell-by date. That's not what we're talking about here, though. This just sounds like laziness on the part of the wife of not putting things away, not storing things correctly, not making sure things are sealed and what have you. And there's just no need for that, is there? So, next post, External Ladder 6302 says, am I the butthole for siding with my mum instead of my wife? Oh, well, it very much depends. It very much depends. This is going to be either something that belongs in Just No Mother-in-Law, or the wife is a bit of a bumhole. We will see. My wife and I have a son who is about to turn 5. My parents, mostly my mum, have been providing us with free childcare since he was a few months old. My mum follows all our requests. No screens, no added sweeteners, and gives our son a level of care no amount of money could buy, and we couldn't afford even the inferior level anyway. Our son loves my parents, he loves my wife's parents too, but he sees them way less, and is always happy when I drop him off and when my wife picks him up. I have an older brother that has issues, and my parents have bailed him out several times in the past. A few years ago, he totaled the car that they bought him, and they said that they were done helping. It turns out that they have been paying his rent for the last 2 years. Oh my goodness. My wife made a comment about how the squeaky wheel gets the grease and no one will ever wonder who their favourite is. What? You've been getting unlimited free childcare, love. Do not bite the hand that feeds you. My mum was mad and said that she spends 40 plus hours a week on us and she can do whatever she wants with her money, whether that be paying for her son's rent, on it or setting it on fire. Yeah, exactly. If it was that the grandmother was basically ignoring the OP's family and doing everything for the brother, then yeah, fair. But childcare is hella expensive. You're talking like £1,000 a month here. Probably a bit more now, actually. That's how much it was when mine were in nursery, so I could go to work. So yeah, it's probably even more now, and that's insane that she would turn around and say that the OP's mum is not doing anything for them when she is probably saving them thousands a month. That's crazy. It was definitely an extreme response. My wife demanded an apology and said that she didn't deserve to be spoken to like that. My mum apologised for being vulgar, but said the sentiment stands and she wants my wife to be quiet about her financial decisions. They went back and forth until my dad made my mum go upstairs. My wife seethed the whole way home. Your wife is in the wrong. Your wife is the bad person. Your wife is ungrateful and entitled. Goodness me. If I had someone who provided me with even a day a week of childcare, just so I could go and do something of my own, I would worship the frigging ground they walked on. I never have babysitters for my kids. My kids have been babysat twice their whole lives. And obviously I paid for childcare when I had to go to work. I've never had help from anyone with my kids, ever, in their whole life. My eldest is a teenager now. I've never had that. And I would have loved to have had that, just to be able to have somebody that I could fall back on when times were tough. Because believe you me, times got very tough a lot of the time. My wife wants to stop relying on my mum for childcare. She said her mum can do some babysitting and we can find a daycare until school starts in the fall. She said she couldn't trust our son with someone emotionally volatile. I'm sorry. Also, I keep stopping and interjecting, but I have to. Her saying, I can do whatever I want with my money, paying her son's rent, pissing on it or setting it on fire. I'm sorry, if she thinks that's emotionally volatile, she is a bit of a wet lettuce. I'm not gonna lie. Get over it, love. Come on now. If it was me, I would have actually appreciated the humor in that a little bit, to be honest. I told my wife that she was the instigator and asked why she couldn't just ignore the information about my brother. I said our son loves his grandparents and yanking them away from him right before he transitions to kindergarten might traumatize him. I also reminded her that we can't afford daycare. Yeah, big on that too. My wife said I'm unsupportive and siding with my family against her. I'm not trying to be unsupportive, just to give honest feedback. Should I have just said that she was right, even though I don't think she is? Nope. Because you're basically then signing off on that entitled behaviour, and the way she's behaving is not okay. She was being handed something extremely generous, and even so, the grandmother is yeah, I will do exactly what you say. I will follow your rules to a T. I will not step outside of the way you want to parent in any way, shape or form. And let me tell you now, you won't get that from childcare. You won't get that from paid childcare. They do it how they want to do it. So she's really, really biting the hand that feeds her just because she's entitled and thinks that she wants more. Love, you were getting enough. So then Negative Bill 3792 says, if your mum has been babysitting for almost 5 years, she's been giving you and your wife a financial benefit even greater than 2 years of rent. Exactly. She could have saved you all over 100k at 2k a month, and she's giving your child one-on-one attention, which he wouldn't otherwise get. Yeah, and that too. You and your wife, by extension, are the favourites. Your wife is an idiot, not the butthole. And then Send Books and Weed Please says this, and bonus that the kid likes her. I hated staying with my grandmother. She was cool. She just didn't know how to deal with kids at all. Yeah, this one baffles me completely. Like, I just think that that is such entitled behavior. Oh, I would have been so grateful for something like that. Insanely grateful. Like, I'm not being funny. Anyone who's not had kids yet, really consider whether you have the bandwidth to commit, because let me tell you now, everyone goes on about it takes a village, it takes a village. In this day and age, the village rarely exists. The amount of friends I've got who do not have a village, the village doesn't exist anymore. It's not the way life is, unless you're very fortunate. So, yeah, I always encourage people that I know to really think carefully before having kids, because these are things that I was never told. Let me tell you, I was never told that this village that we're told about our whole lives growing up doesn't friggin' exist, you know? And these are things that you have to consider. Like, she is incredibly lucky to have that, and she's just spat it back in the grandmother's face. Next post, posted by Solid Importance 190. Am I the butthole for refusing to talk to my fiancé after she secretly replaced my wedding dress with a cheap copy to save her money? 27M and 27F, getting married in February. In our culture, the groom buys the bride's wedding dress and the bride buys, and this, I keep getting tongue-tied, and the bride buys, and the bride buys groom's wedding dress. That was so much harder than it needed to be. What is wrong with me? The groom's dress is called a shawani, I hope I'm saying that right, and the bride's one is a lehenga. To keep things fair, the price range for the dress is decided in advance. We're a little sentimental for wedding clothes. Decided to go on higher end, chose a popular wedding dress attire brand. Did all the shopping together, she picked this lehenga of her choice, and I also found a marvellous piece of shawani. My choice was a little more expensive than hers, but it was still within the price range that we had set. Both of us agreed, finalised the clothes. We didn't bring them home immediately because they needed some customisations according to our body measurements. She was supposed to pick up my dress when it's ready after a few days and send it to my home around 1 month before the wedding. I had to do the same thing too, and I did. I received my shawani from her 2 days ago. My whole family was excited, had a close look and multiple trials when I realised that although it looks very similar, but it's not the dress which I picked. The quality is not up to the mark. Stitching and finishing is nowhere near as good as the one that I had seen in the showroom. There was no brand tag behind the collar too. At first I assumed that we got played by the seller, but I contacted her first, told her everything, and my planning of confronting the seller. Okay, so contacted the wife. For a minute I thought they meant contacted the seller. But she tried to make me believe that it's the same, that she checked it before sending it to me, etc. Basically, she got kind of restless when I was hell-bent on going to the showroom. In the end, she confessed that it is indeed not the same dress, but it's not the seller's mistake. Basically, she picked up a cheaper copy and sent it to me because even though we had the same price range for our dresses, she presumed that my dress would be less costlier than hers, and women's clothes are generally heavier, fancier here, and she thought that the shawani I selected was good but not worth that price. I asked her, in a lightly pissed tone, why didn't she share her views before the purchase? She had no solid answer. Just for clarity, we both earn decent and the price range was mutually fixed. She frequently spends on what I feel are expensive makeup products. I picked up the dress and went to her home, showed her how different it is from the original, how disrespectful and heartbreaking and trust-breaking it is to secretly change your partner's wedding dress just to save some cash. My question would be, where would that cash be then going? Has she pocketed that cash? Because that's where it gets really icky to me, and I would be really considering if I could trust her. I see no other reason than her being stingy for doing this to me. I was super disappointed, left that dress at her place and came back home. We've had no contact since then. I believe she's the one very wrong here, so she should reach out to me. My family was initially hurt too, but now they've started to say not to overreact, as it might come to our wedding. Am I the butthole? I'm still making my stand. No, definitely not the butthole. And by the way, if you're noticing, if you're someone who reads along to these whilst I read them, and you're noticing a lot of the words are different, I have changed a lot of the wording just because of readability and obviously to make it easier to follow along to listen to. So if you are wondering why that is, that's why. But no, I don't think the OP's in the wrong here at all. I think it's very sneaky to do that. I would be very annoyed. And at the end of the day, if I've picked something because I love it and then it gets replaced with a crappy replica behind my back, I'm not going to be happy. If I picked a gorgeous wedding dress and then whoever I was getting married to replaced it with a Shein dress, like, I'd be pissed. So no, absolutely not. And then, like I say, the added layer of where's that money gone? So down in the comments, Alternative Ann 1188 says, not the butthole. I think you have some hard decisions to make on whether this is someone you want to marry. And then Puzzle-Headed Cup 854 says, this 100%. It's something that meant a lot in your culture, and you went together to pick out what would make each of you happy, which I love. Then she went behind your back to save a few pennies. It's something that needed to be spoken about first. Is this how she's going to be during marriage? Communication is key for marriage, and you need to make sure that you are still okay with her. And yeah, notice how she didn't try to scrimp or save on her own outfit as well. Only with the OP's outfit. Like, it's just not fair, is it? It's not fair. It's sneaky. It's dishonest. And it's a little odd. Honestly, it's a little odd. Okay, so I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give it a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.